Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx in association with Clint Patrick, and today I'm joined by Ishmael Ellis, who is part of the Matchroom bubble ahead of his fight with Dalton Smith on the Josh Warrington versus Mauricio Lara undercard this weekend. Ishmael, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for giving us your time today. And this is the first time I've had the pleasure of speaking to you on behalf of SimBoxx. So I think it'd just be ideal to start with if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your record, and where this whole boxing journey started, really.
Yeah, well, I'm currently 11 wins, 3 losses. I started boxing a good few years ago. I was a bit late into the game, just done it as a bit of a fitness kind of hobby thing, and then just went into fighting, went to amateurs, and then 4 years ago turned pro. And now we're here today.
Yeah, so back in the days of deciding to become a boxer, like you say, you went into the amateurs before turning pro. What was your inspiration for that? Like you say, was it the fitness? Was you watching people on TV? Did you have any friends that were boxers? What was the inspiration that lit the fire there to go on and become a professional boxer?
I've always been a boxing fan. I've always loved boxing. No, never ever thought I'd ever fight and compete. Just considering I got into it so late, but I literally stopped playing football. Had about a year out of doing that. I played a game of football and I was like madly out of shape and unfit. And I was like, man, I can't be like this, man. I'm too young to be this unfit. And someone that I was going to a gym with, just doing weights, they went down to the boxing gym that I train at, and that was it. Yeah, just started training, and one thing led to another.
Fantastic. It's good to hear. So let's get straight into it. You fight this weekend with Dalton Smith. It's come around quite last minute. There was a dropout of opponent for Dalton Smith, and you got the call, and here we are. It's a big platform on Sky Sports and Matchroom. I'm sure you're very excited to get out there and perform on such a high profile stage.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've had a week's notice. We was just easing our way back into training and everything, and then we got the phone call on Wednesday afternoon, and it was an opportunity too big to kind of give up. Do you know what I mean? So I've said yeah, and like I say, hopefully, man, this can open up a lot of doors for me.
Definitely. So you're taking on Dalton Smith, as I say, 6-0. He's a highly decorated amateur. He's very well thought of in the pro ranks. How much you know of Dalton? What do you believe he does well, and what are you keeping your eye out for on Saturday night?
I've seen him fight myself on Sky and stuff in the past. I'm expecting, obviously, he's got a real big amateur record, and he's been on the GB team. I'm expecting slick boxing from him. Do you know what I mean? Sharpness and whatnot. But it's his first time around there, and like I say, he's gonna be a very good boxer. But at the end of the day, when you're coming up against someone that kind of doesn't really care and hasn't got much to lose and is going to keep coming at you, that's what's going to test him as well as him testing me. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, I was looking over your record and I could see that this is going to be the third consecutive undefeated opponent that you've took. That shows your level of gameness, your toughness. To jump in there with these guys that are highly touted prospects. What's the attitude behind that? That you're just a willingness to jump in and fight with anybody.
It's not that just that I'm kind of willing to jump in there with anybody. I've always looked at it like this. I've kind of come up a bit on the streets and all that. So it's like, at the end of the day, I could come out of my house today. I could end up getting into a fight with anyone and over anything. And I'm always game to do that anyway on the road. So it's just like, makes no difference in the ring. At the end of the day, we are fighters. That's what we're here and training to do. So if it's not like I'm going in there with some world champion. Otherwise, then yeah, it would just be a bit of a stupid thing. But at the end of the day, we train to fight anyway. And I'm a game geezer. If it was out on road and it went off, I'm gonna back myself anyway. So I'm exactly the same in the rings. You know what I mean? That's the way I see us. We are fighters. We're here to fight. And this is what we should be doing. A lot of the lads, turning down the fights and all that kind of stuff, especially in the pandemic. To me, it's just madness.
If I truly believe that if everybody else, other boxers had that kind of attitude of, let's get in there and fight. Like you say, it's a pandemic. You got to take these opportunities. It's a great attitude that you've got there. Very inspiring. Can we just briefly go back to your most recent fight? It was an unfortunate stoppage loss. The first time you have been stopped in your career. What did you learn from that fight? As I say, you was very game, very tough in there, and you always come to fight. It just unfortunately didn't go your way on the night. What did you take from that fight, and what have you learned in the meantime?
One of the main things I learned from it was don't lose 2 stone in a week. because he'll absolutely take everything out of you. I did learn a lot from it, to be fair. I mean, disappointingly, again, because I only had a week's notice and I had so much weight to lose because I literally was not active at the time. It just zapped all my energy, and it was more about kind of just standing up in there more than anything. But I did learn a lot from it, a lot about myself, and just a lot about kind of, again, these kind of shows and these kind of levels. Do you know what I mean? I did take a lot from it, even though if you kind of did watch the fight, you probably think, oh, I ain't took nothing out of that. But I actually have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, you started the fight well, and now you've explained with the cut in weight, and again another fight that was took on late notice. That kind of explains a lot, because you did start reasonably well. You was in the fight, and then, as you say, that the tank just seemed to deplete rapidly, and you visibly was tired, as you say, and that all links back to the weight loss, which is never a good thing. So, like you say, it's good that you've been able to take away so many positives in defeat.
No, thank you. Yeah.
So, tell us about your fight with Kane Baker. That was a highlight on your record, and a bit of a local rivalry. It brings a smile to your face. What is your memories of that fight?
Yeah, that was my first loss. We had a bit of like kind of beef, like how boxing goes and all that. And he kind of talked some stuff about me. So I says, look, as well we get it on in the ring then, and he agreed to it. Unfortunately for me on the day, I had a bit of an illness, and it just zapped all my energy, and it was kind of one of them things. It was just, I'll take nothing away from Kane, man. He came to fight that day. But again, on the morning, I came down with something, and my pride got the better of me. I could have, looking back, I probably should have pulled out of the fight, but it was such a big fight, and I sold about 270 tickets. I think he done about near enough the same. He was in a small venue. I didn't want to let the fans down. I didn't want to kind of let him down either, and I just kind of gritted my teeth and just kind of got on with it. And yeah, like I say, I lost. It was not my best performance. I learned a lot from that, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it was actually an illness that I had that I didn't know about, that I kept brushing to the side and thinking, like it's one of them things. But because it flared up on the day and affected me so bad, my trainer seen it before we got in the ring, but I kind of hid it from him. And then we was talking afterwards, and it prompted me to get kind of checked out and that. So it's helped me out in a way. It just kind of wasn't very good, because it kind of gave me my first loss and everything against, a rival.
That's crazy. It's the kind of thing that you don't see, when you watch the fight on TV or YouTube or a streaming service, wherever the fight might be, and then you realise that, you kind of putting off this ailment, you're just kind of putting up with it, and then all of a sudden you realise it's something that's quite serious, and it was only defeat that you managed to realise what that was. And I'm sure after that fight, did you feel the improvements then of knowing what the issue was and going and get it sorted?
Yeah. As soon as I found out what was wrong, I was able to change my diet and stuff, which has made a massive difference. It was just literally at the time of that year, things kept happening, but after like a day or two in training, he would go, and I was fine all the way up to the fight for the past like 2 weeks, and then I was fine on the way in. And then literally the morning of the fight, I just woke up and it was just like, nah, do you know what I mean? It was just, I was in a bad way, like.
Yeah, it's no good. So take us through how you found adapting to fight behind closed doors. The current pandemic and everything else that goes along with it. There's no fans in the arenas. As you say there, you sell quite a number of tickets. How have you adapted to fighting with no fans and not having that kind of added motivation? Do you struggle? Was it an eye-opener? Take us through how you felt with it.
To be fair, it probably wasn't a struggle. It's probably more of a struggle when you're selling tickets. The stress of people phoning you, letting you down, and all that kind of stuff. So it was actually a lot kind of easier, because it's kind of like all you've got to do is just turn up and do what you got to do. Do you know what I mean? Same with today. It's a bit unfortunate for today, being at such a high kind of level and everything. I'm sure if it was tickets to sell, I could have sold fucking hundreds, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? The situation's there, and we've just kind of got to ride with it. But it definitely is an added pressure, as you'd think. It's probably better, if anything.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely an interesting way to look at it, because everyone looks at the bigger names, your Anthony Joshua's or your Josh Warrington, who's headlining on Saturday, but the small hall fighters like yourself that are getting these opportunities on the bigger shows, people don't realise the work and the effort that goes in behind closed doors. Again, when you're selling tickets, and Josh Warrington's a big icon of that he came through that way of selling tickets on the small hall shows, and now he's headlining on Matchroom, he's a world champion. But it all boils down to starting off at grassroots and selling tickets here, then everywhere, even up until the day of the weigh-in, in some cases, small hall shows. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Ishmael, it's been an absolute pleasure having your time today, and it was quite great to get a little insight. I wish you the best of luck for Saturday. Is there anything you'd like to add to finish?
Just thank you to everyone that's got behind me, all my sponsors and all that, and hopefully everyone will enjoy the fight on Saturday.
Definitely. I'm sure it'll be a great fight. Again, thanks for your time, and I wish you the best of luck for Saturday, and we'll catch up again in the future.
Thank you, mate. And the best to you as well.